Good evening. We are now at week 6 in Social Work 670, and the focus this week is on older adult years and loss. Let us look at the introduction. So for this week, the learning objectives are as follows: to identify and discuss developmental considerations in older adult grief, to explain the benefits of facilitating a life review, to differentiate between functional losses and social losses in older adults, and to identify and discuss topics relevant to end-of-life care, including hospice and palliative care. The learning objectives for this week are the learning resources for this week are as follows. Chapters 12 and 13 in the text, Grief and Loss in Old Age and Interventions for Grieving Older Adults. There are a number of articles for this week, so please take a look at those. There are 2 videos. The first talks specifically about the differences between palliative care and hospice care. One entails supporting individuals through difficult diagnoses that could go on for a long period of time, but helping them with pain relief and other methodologies so that they can have a good quality of life. And hospice usually specifically requires that there be a best guess diagnosis from a physician that someone's life will end in 6 months or less. The second video is one done for StoryCorps, and it is a touching depiction of the life of a couple and ultimately the death of one of the members of this couple. And it talks about the touching life and responses they have to each other, including at the end of life. There is a reminder that the third reflection paper will be due in week 7, so remember that there is another reflection paper due next week. And there is a discussion, 2 assignments this week. The first is a discussion post, and based on a loss of your choosing, what is the role of social work in helping older adults respond to the loss and in helping to ameliorate the impact of change? And describe the type of education you would provide in support of other members of the multidisciplinary team you would enlist to address the needs of family, friends impacted by the loss named in your response to the first bullet point. And you are going to respond to at least 2 of your classmates. The second assignment for this week is the culminating paper. We did go over the parameters for that paper in the overview video for last week, so I will not go through that again. But this is that culminating paper worth a significant percentage of your grade, so please look at the rubric and make sure that the headings required for this paper you cover completely. The last activity for this week is a video, and it is a video from a senior living center, and this is their take on Call Me Maybe. And so this will give you an enjoyable few minutes to look at activities of older adults. We often think of older adults only at the end of life, but again, people also experience much joy as an older adult. So the focus with working with older adults, as we talked about last week, the losses get compounded as people age. There is that loss of work, and so the retirement years, either forced or voluntary, loss of role in many aspects of one's life, unfortunately, increased physical incapacity can be experienced by some older people, but not all. But it's a good time to engage in life review, to go back and remember and come to grips with what has occurred in one's life. Also, another intervention is reminiscence therapy, a number of approaches to help older adults to view their life in the rearview mirror, but also to reflect on one's past, to look at the choices that were made over one's life, and to be able to reconcile those choices and to essentially see the positive and the strengths in what has happened in their life, but also for whatever the choices that were made, to also be able to reflect back on those choices and to take in the totality of their life and again reconcile what has happened to them over the years. So if you are behind in any of your assignments for this course, please at this point try to get those in, because we are fast approaching the end of the class and there's not that much time between the date that the class ends and when grades are due. So if there's any questions this week after reading the readings, going through the videos, please let me know as quickly as possible, and I look forward to reading your assignments. Have a wonderful week.